Hey guys, I'm Jocelyn, welcome to my studio. So today we're going to be working on a commission that someone has commissioned from me. It is something I've drawn before. I drew it for myself and my partner, and a family friend saw it on my Facebook page and said could she have one. Okay, so this is what I drew. I think it was last week or the week before. There is a bit of a story behind it. My boyfriend and I, when we first met, we were both quite guarded. Over time, instead of being in our own separate bubbles, we became in one bubble together. I did this really quick. It's not actually on blending paper. It's on like watercolour paper or pad. Some of it's done in Sharp, but most of it is done in Copics. And it actually blended surprisingly well for not being blending card. So this is what we're going to be doing.
The cut is weird here because I didn't like what I originally said, but the rest of the video is going to be voiceover, so let's pretend the former just didn't happen, okay? Okay. I'm using a bowl to draw in the circle because I'm terrible at drawing circles. I'm also making sure that I draw the stand in the centre, because actually if it's off centre it's going to be very obvious as this piece is quite large. So I'm just sketching that in, making sure that I'm quite happy with the general shape of things. The next thing I need to do is draw in the couple. The couple I am working for is a really nice family friend, and they provided some pictures, and the one I went with was them at what looks like some kind of do. She's wearing a nice dress and he's wearing a fairly smart casual type of suit. I'm sketching them in slightly thinner than me and my boyfriend just because we are chunky and the couple I was drawing are a lot slimmer than us. So I'm just going to go over and generally sketch in the absolute shapes of their bodies, and then as you can see, as time goes on, I slowly work in each element of their outfits so it clearly represents them. I do this because the figures I'm drawing, their faces are not going to look exactly like the couple I am drawing, just because this is more of a representational drawing of a feeling of closeness and love rather than a realistic depiction of people. Going to be doing is the line work. I'm just using a very fine liner for this because I will be going over it later. Again, I use the bowl because I can't draw circles. I make a small mistake there, but that's okay because I'll be using a nice thick pen and that will cover it up when I do the final line art. This is just more so I can erase my sketch and I can colour it effectively. Drawing the couple, I need to make sure that I relook at any photographs I'm using and that I haven't missed any small details, because after I do the line work, that's what I'm stuck with. So I think I make sure that the shapes are correct, and the only thing I think I change is the glasses of the man. I changed them so they're a bit rounder because I clearly made them quite square and chunky, and those are not an accurate representation of the glasses he actually wears. I also changed the hairline very slightly, just because I made it quite rounded and he's actually got quite a square hairline. The next thing I'm going to be doing is doing the colouring bit, which is always the fun bit. I start with the hair and work my way down, just because I feel it gives a better way of working. I initially make her hair much too yellow. She's actually blonde and it actually just looks like she's got dyed hair. So as you'll see, I go over it quite a few times. So I do the hair and then I fill in a bit of shading so I can get a general idea of what level of shading I think is required and how much I'm probably going to work over it and over it until I'm happy. I next go with the skin because it's one of the biggest surface areas, and it gives me a good idea of how the final piece will come out because it's such an integral part of the drawing. The next thing I do is I decide to start on his suit because it's a fairly monotone suit. It's just shades of grey and purple, and this way I can focus on the more colourful aspects, which are his tie and his pants, which are a very nice sort of greeny mustard colour, which was a little bit difficult for me to get hold of, but I think I mixed a few colours together and I overlaid them until I was happy with the final colour. I'm getting a lot of colours here because the dress the lady was wearing was very, very colourful and very, very nice. I didn't follow the colours exactly as the photograph just because there was a multitude of stripes and it would be far too difficult for me to get it exactly right because I may not have the exact right colour. I make sure as I go along that I'm doing a fairly even distribution of each colour as per the picture that I was looking at. There was mostly blue tones, so I think I used about 3 or 4 different shades of blue, and I also end up using the main blue for her shoes because I couldn't see them and I figured it was best to use complementary shoes and I think her earring as well because the dress is the main focal point of her outfit. The next thing I'm going to be doing is colouring in the stand. I'm using mostly warm tones, the only cool tone of brown being around the plaque. This is so the plaque will adequately stand out. I changed this from the original drawing because the original drawing did not have a plaque on it. I decided to add this plaque because if someone else commissions this picture from me, I wanted to make sure that you could differentiate fairly simply between each version of the drawing, and also this adds a little personal touch for each couple that might commission this drawing from me. Next we're going to do the shading. This is one of the most crucial parts of each drawing as it can make or break your piece. I first go in with a dark pen, making sure to get every area of absolute darkness I know, and I then go in with a slightly lighter pen just to blend out the edges so it's not as harsh. The great thing about alcohol-based markers is even if you overshadow, you are able to blend and blend and blend until it's a lot lighter. So all I'm doing is going through stages of darkness, from dark to light, to accurately blend it out. The final section to do is just go over every single line with a thick fine liner pen. You can use any kind of pen. I personally prefer to use the Copic Classic marker just because I like the colour and I like the thickness of the pen. I originally was just going to go around each general shape, but then I decided to do each individual detail because this is quite a large piece and I figured it would be more impactful.
This is the final piece. I just checked with Angela, who's commissioning it from me, and she seems to like it, so that's really good. You know, there's a few little mistakes here and there, but every artist gets nitpicky. So that was the original, and that's the new version. So it's similar, it's just obviously Angela and her fiance. I got it wrong earlier, I said husband, I meant fiance. Yeah, I actually went off a photo they had up, so that was really good because it means that I can take directly from it colours and stuff. So yeah, I'm really happy. I think that's really good. It's quite a nice size. I do quite like working this big because it means that any little mistakes aren't as noticeable. But yeah, so I'm really happy with that. If you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing. Give me a like if you enjoyed. Any questions, please put in the comments below. So thanks for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!